Hey everybody! So, I know it's been a little while, but I've been working hard. I want to make this video right, and so I made a lot of notes here, and as you can tell in the title, this is our 1 year living in a motorhome full-time video, reflections, thoughts, and kind of a background, our story. I started this channel out one day, just the ground running and hitting the road, but never really introduced us or what we're doing or why we're doing it. So we'll start from the beginning. I'm Jack. I travel in my 21-foot Toyota motorhome with my girlfriend Sinead and our beautiful Carillion bear dog Panda. We've been traveling in our 1990 Toyota Seabreeze for the last full year now. Our anniversary is in October. We actually got tattoos a little while back, a few videos back. You can see that, kind of celebrate. But I wanted to, share, our feelings, our experiences, and, the story too. I think I was reluctant to share a lot, but I think it's worth sharing, and, I hope you guys get something out of, what led us to doing this. So the past year we have been living in this motorhome, but for 3 months, a while back, there was some hiatus for some of you guys that are new to the channel or just watching this for the first time. Our first motorhome was 1987 Toyota Dolphin that we first hit the road with, and that actually got wrecked. We drug it back to Billings with a hole in the side, drove it from Utah, and started over again. So this is the first official full year in our motorhome, in a motorhome. So I documented that. You guys can go back, watch those videos. They're not so great. I did them with my cell phone. I've upgraded to GoPros now, so the channel has gotten better over time. But you guys can go back and kind of watch that if you want to kind of see what the Dolphin was about. I was living in Montana. I moved out there from Philadelphia to kind of get a clean start, finish high school, and go to the university out there. I went to the College of Technology, got a 1-year tech degree in heavy equipment operating, and graduated in 2008 during the housing crisis. So I could not get work with that degree. I was competing with people that had 30 years experience and couldn't get jobs. So I figured I'd just go back to school. I went for a 4-year degree, bachelor's in science at the University of Montana, and I loved it for a while. The college experience is great. I learned a lot. I met some great people, and the experience is really is what the most of what you get out of college. You learn just people skills and things that the social skills. I think was a really big thing learning from college, and I did learn a lot. Chemistry, biology, all that cool stuff. But towards as time went on, it wasn't really fulfilling. I felt like what I was working towards wasn't, what I started working towards. I wanted to work in private industry, and the program was just kind of grooming you into working for the government, working at national parks, and that's really not what I wanted to do, along with that job market being very bleak as well. So, on top of that, I was just miserable. Towards the end of my college career, I went there for 3.5 years for that degree, and was just not a happy person. Towards the end, every day I wasn't happy. 5 days a week, I was just a miserable person, angry, road rage, just nothing like you guys really see in this video. If you guys, saw the old me, I was kind of a mess for a while, but so I just wasn't happy. And the University of Montana, I'm not going to get too much into it, but this was during 2013. They had some controversy, and it was not handled well. And on top of me being upset with life, I was very jaded with school and with the University of Montana, and how they treat their students. And I'll leave it at that. So I made a change, and I started doing things that make me happy. I kind of sat down, made a list of things I didn't like. What made me miserable, what made me angry. And number one was school. It was, the commute, 40 minutes on, crowded, congested highway, and it was only busy going and then coming back. So you saw empty lanes, and you're just fighting through 2 lanes of horrible traffic. And with people even more angry and crazy than I was. So, so I stopped doing that. I stopped going to university. I was dating Sinead at the time. We've been together 6 years now. So she's been with me through a lot of my adventure in life. We moved into a small little cabin and just started doing more things that made me happy. You know, I wanted a dog. Could never do it because I was in school working, and we got Panda, and you know, my life is just my quality of life. Like, he's just a part of my soul, and yeah. And I started, going camping more. We started traveling more, which was really cool. We would do trips on the Oregon coast in my 2000 Toyota 4Runner, which is probably the only thing I really miss with all the things I've sold, and I still talk about it. So that kind of gave us the travel bug. That's where we really things kind of clicked. Like, that was awesome. Just living on the road, not really knowing what you're doing, but just knowing, like, hey, let's go to this beach one day and, you know, see where we'll camp that night. Just kind of winging it, and, you know, it's a lot of fun. We're kind of like car dwellers, you know, on our vacations, and that kind of gave us the bug for sure. So after that, I really just started working for money. I worked for a nonprofit for 5 years, and it was just a dead end. I was making the same amount of money as when I started, had way more responsibilities, and there was just no room for advancement. So unfortunately, I did have to leave that job, and I went back to roofing. I was a roofer for a year out of high school before I went to university. And so I knew, you know, it's money making. That's a good money maker, especially if you're fast. And I was pretty good at tear off. Not the best at shingling. Pretty good at shingling, but I'm just been a tear off rat. I enjoyed it more. I don't like finish work as much. So I was just doing that, and, you know, working myself to the bone and trying to make money. And eventually it got to the point I developed arthritis in the basal joints of both my thumbs from just the heavy repetitive repetition, grabbing, pulling, things like that. Arthritis runs really bad in my family, so I was 26 years old and full thumb splints. I couldn't zip up my jacket, couldn't tie my shoes, and that was a big kind of a big breaking point, I think, you know, eye-opener. Where am I going with my life? Is this sustainable? I was on unemployment, which is a horrible feeling. I was injured. I couldn't use my thumbs, which is there's a lot you can't do if you can't use your thumbs, and, you know, it bums you out. You know, I like working with my hands. You know, you guys have watched me build up motorhomes, and, you know, I'm a hobbyist. I like doing things with my hands, and couldn't even work. So started selling off our stuff just to pay rent, pay bills, and started watching YouTube. You know, I'm sitting at home, I'm injured, I can't work, and couldn't work anyway on unemployment. You know, it's not a comfortable feeling at all. You almost feel like a criminal for doing, you know, nothing wrong. But anyway, I started, you know, getting into watching YouTube, getting into the tiny house thing. Was a little bit of a push, and, like, you know, these people, they live smaller, but, you know, the whole allure to the tiny house movement, and it's like, yeah, you know, I'm going to keep working, and we'll get a piece of land, and I'll build up a tiny house, and, you know, kept working towards that. I got a different job at a very small kitchen that I was a dishwasher, and they didn't have, you know, the overhead power, you know, the power sprayer thing that dishwashers got, just all by hand. And the water heater went out all the time, so I'm hand scrubbing dishes with ice cold water, and eventually, you know, I just blew my thumbs out again. Square one. I, you know, lost another job, and I couldn't, you know, do a heavy repetitive job for you know, a 9 to 5, 40 hours a week. It was killing me, and it was only getting worse, you know, and I wasn't even 30, so kind of a, you know, kind of a weird, hard place to be. You know, I'm dealing with arthritis, and I'm in my late 20s. So, kind of, you know, looked more into that, and, you know, the tiny house thing, it's cool. I get it. You know, it's really kitschy, and, it's a cool movement. It's encouraging people to minimize, use less. I think it's great, but it's pretty unrealistic for me to get a piece of land and then to build up a tiny home from scratch. I mean, you're looking at, it's $70,000 to, some people are paying over $200,000 for a tiny home. And it's just, it's a little, it's kind of silly, I don't know. And I will not ever use the word reclaimed barnwood, because something about that too really bothers me. From realizing, the tiny house thing wasn't really happening, not feasible, I was like, I own 2 campers, I've fixed them up, and this is a tiny house, but I don't have to build it up from scratch. For some of those have shingle roofs, and they're pulling and they're sloped like that, and the wind's coming at it like this when they're going down the highway. I installed asphalt shingle roofs. You do not do that. That is, I'm sorry, it's just so dumb. You should be going like 40 miles an hour at best if you're ever going to move one of those. It's very unrealistic. It's like, for under 10 grand, I can get a tiny house. I don't have to build it. I don't need land. I can put it wherever. And that really got us rolling into the RV life, watching more YouTube videos, following channels, and kind of seeing people that, if they could do it, why couldn't I? I've remodeled 2 campers. My first one was a slide-in pickup camper I got for free from a buddy that just needed gone. Fixed it up, put it in a pickup bed trailer, and towed it with my 4Runner. And then I had a 1969 Aljo. It was a 19-foot single axle, and I pulled that with a 4Runner twice, and I was like, that's not happening. That was terrifying. Don't pull big trailers with small trucks. That's a bad idea. So I fixed that one up, sold it for a lot more than I got it for. That's when another thing I realized is that these things have value if you know how to work on them. If you don't know how to work on them, you're screwed, and I'm sorry. That's just the way it is with RVs. It is ridiculous what people charge to work on these. So you need to know how to work on them. That's my major #1 tip. If anything you can take from this, learn how to work on a motorhome if you want to live in one, because everything breaks all the time. Me and Sinead talked a lot about it for a while, and she was sick of the grind and going nowhere just as much as I was, and let's do it. What do we got to lose? And kind of that's what we realized. We could very easily just go back to renting an apartment and working 9 to 5s. It was kind of more a risk going this direction, and it's easy going back. And it was, if anything, we'd have a vacation and then, come back with our tail between our legs and less stuff, but, we could survive, sell the motorhome, This doesn't work out for everyone, so that's kind of, that is a gamble. We started selling everything. Like, I was ripping out the shop. I had so many tools I didn't need. I had like 4 camping chairs, 2 cars, a motorcycle, 2 one-man pontoon boats. Why do I need 2? I don't know. I guess I did back then, but it's just, once I sold this stuff, I'm like, why did I really need this? But I did miss I love that 4Runner. I'll put another picture in again because it's just so damn majestic. But I'll get another one someday. It's all material, and the things we attach to it. That truck used to own me for a little while. I just, babied it and obsessed, and, that was not really healthy either. And, we got to the point, the Dolphin was remodeled, and we were sleeping on the couch cushions out of the motorhome just on the floor, because we sold all our furniture, and we were waiting, we wanted to get everything sold before our lease was up. So for the last month, we were, bare bones, nothing was in the house. And so you guys can kind of see from there when we leave Montana. I have video RV Life Begins, and that's when I started doing YouTube. So I really encourage you guys fill in the gaps. The videos do get better. I'm sorry about the first few months of my channel. I did the best I could with what I had. Freedom of the road and how far your money goes with no overhead to living. It's incredible. So that's been the huge allure for me. Is we don't have much, but we have more freedom than we know what to do with, and it's incredible. And that's why, for me, I have to keep doing this. I can't go back to... I'm working a 9 to 5 right now, actually, as my temp job, 40 hours a week. I work still. This is not the easy way out. Yeah, you guys can see over the last year our adventures, but it's just been incredible. We've met more people. We've made more friends from places that we would have never seen, or, people we would have never met My dog has seen the ocean more than some of my friends. And, I'm just so grateful that we have the opportunity to do that. And so grateful for, all the stuff we don't have. That motorcycle, that costs money keeping that up. 2 cars, car insurance, rent, trash bill, internet bill. I might have been, making more money, but I have a lot more money in my pocket than I do now than when I was working full time and, living the normal 9-to-5 life. Sorry guys, I'm going to try and get this going a little faster. So, one thing I wanted to answer, I think it's really out there. The RV life is very glamorized on YouTube, and very few share the bad moments, and when they do, they're kind of attacked for it. So it's a weird, kind of gray area, like if I show you something bad that happens to my life, I'm, negative, or I'm e-bagging or whatever. It's kind of weird. You see people complain on YouTube about RV life. They get attacked. It's kind of strange, but RV life does not fix your problems, and it can give you a lot more. It's really, for, case by case, who you are, if it fits you or not. It's not for everyone. I've said, from day one when we hit the road and started having, an RV, things break all the time, and you just, you maintain and you fix them and prioritize, and that's just life. I used to go crazy and get stressed out and angry and just, go back to my negative ways, and that is just so toxic. And if there's one thing that this life has done for me, it's gotten that negativity out of my life that makes you sick. Like it's just toxic for your body to be negative all the time. Look at the world through shit-colored glasses, as a friend of mine would say. It's just, if there's anything you guys can do, just be more positive, have more positivity in your life, and it just fixes so many problems on their own. But, sorry, yeah, it is not the easy way out. The repairs, the stress on a relationship. I'm so grateful that Sinead is, my co-pilot, my partner in this. She's helped me through so much, coping with things, helping me fix things, I've, seen firsthand that RV life has torn a couple apart because they weren't ready for it, living in a small space and not, having the experience to work it, to just dive in with a couple to dive into this that's, just kind of met. That's pretty crazy. So we had a strong relationship to build on to make this work. And of course there's risk, but there's risk with everything. I could have been killed every day driving to work, to school. It's just life. You got to live it, and everything has its risks. So yeah, I've learned a lot of healthier ways of handling stress. That was a big, happy, healthy change for me. I got to take it as it comes, and one day at a time, just, enjoy your moment and what you're living in, and not all this stuff that you can't control that's, in the future or in your past, they're dwelling on the future, it's just as bad as dwelling on the past. So you just got to live in the moment, make yourself happy, and, live whatever dream it is, whether it's in an RV or in a beautiful, giant house. If that makes you happy, that is awesome. And, I wish everyone just would live happy. I think we'd have a better world. So RV life, another thing, it forces you to take care of yourself more. We've eaten a lot better. Our fridge is really small, so we eat a lot of fresher food. And also, things that are more affordable. I would eat meat every meal, and I would have a steak, 2 steaks or 2 burgers for dinner, and I would be fine. I don't need sides, but that's not a healthy way to eat. And this actually forces you to eat a little more vegetarian, which a few vegetarian meals, they are good for you here and there. I'm still very much a carnivore, but you can only fit so much meat in that fridge. So, but definitely, eating better has been a big kind of surprise in this. Big change. Many of you guys, I'm sure none of you guys know, I was a smoker for a long time. And I did the math one day, obviously it's unhealthy, it's horrible for you, all that stuff, but, it is so expensive. I mean, you need a full-time job to I mean, you need a part-time job to fulfill a smoking habit in this day and age. I did the math. It was $1,800 a year was what I was spending on tobacco. Tell any nomad, hey, would you like an extra $1,800 a year, and see what they would do for it. I mean, so that was an easy one, and I've never felt better. I'm so grateful I quit smoking. So I encourage you guys too. You know, I'm not trying to push anything on you. Smoking is enjoyable, and you're an adult, and you're an American, and it's your right to do what you want, but it saves you money, and you know, it's the health and all that stuff. So I'm not going to preach here. All right, guys, this is getting really long. So the future, where are we going? What's happening? Continuing. I mean, I can't stop. I wouldn't want to do anything else. This is incredible. I own my home outright. So, I mean, those worries of, you know, losing my thumbs, not being able to work, I can at least keep my home. I can keep a roof over me and my family's head, which is, you know, not many people can say. And, you know, it's pretty scary how many people are living on debt and mortgages. And I'm just so glad that wasn't the path that I've taken. We're going to be working, doing work camping jobs less and doing normal jobs more. I think in my next update video, I'll talk a little bit more about work camping. This is already like 20 minutes long. I'm sure all of you have left the video long by now, so I'm just talking to myself. But kind of trying to do RV life a little more differently than the beaten path. Like, you know, the life that I left of, you know, the beaten path of, you know, you go to college, you get a good job, and then you retire. That, you know, that is not the world we live in anymore. There are a lot of college graduates that are servers and trashmen, and, you know, I've worked some crummy jobs, you know, side by side, and we're all, you know, college educated. There's people with their master's degrees that are working, you know, a regular retail job just because they make more in retail than with their masters. Like, my friend is a psychology major, graduated, and he's been installing sprinklers and making a lot more money. It's, you know, it's kind of crazy. So, you know, it's really weird, the world we're living in now. It's, you need to find your own path, and we're working harder on that as far as, you know, financially, along with, you know, the motorhome life. Gonna be traveling slower. Traveling slower, seeing more. We've been going so fast and, like, covering these huge distances. Like, we were in, you know, New Mexico last winter, and we went all the way to the Washington State Peninsula, and we only had 3.5 weeks to get there. So we really, you know, few and far between could we relax and lean back for a few days at a spot. I'd like to stay at spots longer and much more free camping. Yeah, with that, I'm just going to wrap this up, guys. I mean, I love my rig. This is such a great home that gets incredible mileage. Couldn't do it with anyone else. I have an incredible partner working with me on this. Sinead is very camera shy, and, you know, I'm not going to push her into the channel. If I want to keep her as a girlfriend, I can't be jamming my camera in her face. So hope you guys understand that. And, you know, it's my channel. It's not something she signed up for. I just decided to do it one day. So but anyway, guys, I really appreciate all of you supporting us through all of this, especially from the beginning with all my crappy camera phone videos. I'm going to keep going with this channel and the dream, and I really hope, you know, that you guys stay with us and keep following. I'm going to be working harder, trying to do videos once a week once we're back on the road. I know there's been some gaps. Kind of had to stop and reflect for a while to really do this video right, so I hope I did. Anyway, guys, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe already. Come on. And follow us on our adventure. So thanks so much, guys, and we will see you on the next one.